यशोधानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोधानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन जमुनतीरावनचारी जमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोधानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोधानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन जमुनतीरावनचारी जमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोधानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन जमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिविराजक आचार्य श्रोत्र सदस्य श्रीमद अभय शरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ओं नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओं नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओं नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 15, chapter entitled Parashurama, the Lord's Warrior Incarnation. Text 27, 28 and 29. 27 and 28 shlokas doesn't have a purport, so we'll be reading. I'll be reading the shloka and translation. Then 29th verse we can recite together. 27th verse. अथ राजानि निध्याते राम आश्रम आगतः श्रुत्वा तत्तस्य धौरात्म्यं चक्रोधाभिरिवाहतः. Translation. Thereafter, Kartivirya Arjuna, having left with the Kamadhenu, Parasurama returned to the ashrama. When Parashurama, the youngest son of Jamadagni, heard about Kartivirya Arjuna's nefarious deed, He became as angry as trampled snake. Text 28. Ghoram adhaya parashum shatunam varma karmukam anuvadhata durmarsho mrigendra iva yutapam. Taking up fierce chopper, his shield, his bow, and a quiver of arrows, Lord Parashurama, exceedingly angry, chased Kartivirya Arjuna just as a lion chases an elephant. Okay, sorry, text 30th has the purport, so text 29th also will be reading the shlokan translation. Tam apattantam bruhuvarya mojasha danurdharam bhana parasbhad swadha yudham ainye charambaram arka dhamabir yutam jhatabir dadrushe purim visham. Translation. As King Kartivirya Arjuna entered his capital, Mahishmati Puri, he saw Lord Parashurama, the best of the Brihu dynasty, coming after him. Holding a chopper, shield, bow, and arrows, Lord Parashurama was covered with a black deer skin, and his matted locks of hair appeared like the sunshine. So, text 30, please repeat together. Achodayat hasti rata ashva patibihi gadha ashi bhana rishti shatagni shaktibihi akshaunihi saptadasha tha ekah bhagavan ashudayat achodayat dashtirata swapattibir gada shibana shiti shatangi shaktibihi akshaunihi shaptadashati bhishanas taramayeko bhavanashudayat achodayat dashtiratha swapattibir gada shibana shiti shatangi shaktibihi akshauhani shaptadashati bhishanas taramayeko bhavanashudayat achodayat dashtirata swapattibir gada shibanashti shathangi shaktibihi akshauhani shaptadashati bhishanas taramayeko bhagavanashudayat achodayat dashtirata swapattibir ashidana shidata dashibihi rameko bhagavanashudayat Taramayadashtirataspapatibir Gada Shivanashti Tatagnishaktibhi Akshauhini Shaptadashapiti Ghanas Taramayeko Bhavanashudhayat. Matajis? He sent for fighting. Hasti with elephants. Ratha with chariots. Ashva with horses. Pattibihi and with infantry. Gada with clubs. Ashi with swords. Bhana with arrows. Rishti with the weapons called rishtis. Shathagni with weapons called shatagnis. Shaktibihi with weapons called shaktis. Akshauhinihi, the whole groups of Akshauhinis. Shaptadasha, 17. Atibhishanaha, Ishanaha, very fierce. Taha, all of them. Ramaha, Lord Parashurama. Ekaha, alone. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ashudayat, kill. Translation and purport given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. Translation. Upon seeing Parasurama, Kartivirya Arjuna immediately feared him and sent many elephants, chariots, horses and infantry soldiers equipped with clubs, swords, arrows, rishtis, shatagnis, shaktis and many similar weapons to fight against him. Kartivirya Arjuna sent 17 full Akshauhinis of soldiers to check Parashurama. But Lord Parashurama alone killed all of them. Purport. The word Akshauhini refers to a military phalanx consisting of 21,870 chariots and elephants, 1,09,350 infantry soldiers and 65,610 horses. An exact description is given in the Mahabharata, Adi Parva, 2nd chapter as follows. Eko rato gajaschaika nara pancha padhayatyaha trayascha turghasta janai patiriti abhidhiyate patim tu trigunam etam vidu senamukam buddhaha trini senamukhan eko gulma iti adidhiyate trayo gulma ghano nama vahini tu ghanastraya struthas tishras tu vahinya prithaneti vichakshanaihi chamushtu prithanastishras chamvastishrastu anikini dashaguna ahur akshauhinim buddhaha akshauhinyas tu sankhyata rathanam duja sattamaha sankhya ghanita tatvajnaihi सहस्राणि एकविंशति शतानि उपरि चाष्ठौ च भूयस्तथा च सप्ततिः गजानां तु पारिमाणां तावत् एवात्र निर्दिशेत् ज्ञेयं शातसहस्रं तु सहस्राणि तथा नव नराणामादिपञ्चाशत् शतानि त्रीणि चानगाः पञ्चषष्टिसहस्राणि तथा स्वानं शतानि च दशोत्तराणि शतचाहुः यथावत् अभिसाङ्ख्यया एताम् अक्षौहिणीं प्राहुः संख्या तत्त्वविदो जनाः. One chariot, one elephant, 5 infantry soldiers, and 3 horses are called a pati by those who are learned in the science. The wise also known that a sena mukha is 3 times what a pati is. 3 sena mukhas are known as 1 gulma. 3 gulmas are called a ghana, and 3 ghana are called a vahini. 3 vahinis have been referred to by the learned as a pritana. 3 pritanas equal 1 chamu, and 3 chamus equal 1 anikini. The wise refer to the 10 anikinis as 1 akshauhini. The chariot of an akshauhini have been calculated at 21,870 by those who know the science of such calculations. O best of the twice born, and the numbers of elephants is the same. The numbers of infantry soldiers is 1,09,350. And the numbers of horses is 65,610. This is called an akshauhini. नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति विकास स्वामिनिति नामने. नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामने. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि घोर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So in the series of verses, we have been hearing the description of how Kartiviri Arjuna was stolen the Kamadhenu from Jamadagni, and now we can see having done that nefarious act. So now he is going to be punished by Parashurama. And in this particular verse, we can see the description, very wonderful description of Akshauhini. And the entire Akshauhini, there were 17 Akshauhini, and it was all defeated by one person, who is Parashurama, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the descriptions are so captivating. The numbers are so captivating, especially for the students here who are all Sanskrit, who are all learning Sanskrit here. They will be enchanted by these numbers. Anybody who see the description, the number of elephants, the number of infantry soldiers, the number of chariots. So these are all mind-blowing. Alone has faced all this entire army. Even we can imagine, even if one elephant in front of us, how much we will be in panic. Will be. And elephants can run 40 km per hour. Although it's huge, but many times people, they don't know how to. If the elephant is chasing, especially, it is expected to run in a zigzag position. If you go straight, you will be smashed. Like, the elephant can easily reach you. So that's why it's said that you have to go zigzag, so that, it will not be easy for the elephant to follow you. So even one elephant, even one snake is enough for people get panic. Even especially in Kerala, it's known for there are especially there are more number of elephants. Even during the festival, there is a practice. They used to bring elephants for the procession. It will be very wonderful. Even in Guruvayur temple, every evening they have these elephant processions. Even in Mayapur we have. So sometimes we see that the elephant, when they become anger, so it has done greatest damage. Although there are a group of 3-4 elephants, but people maybe in thousands, but they will not able to handle. It's very difficult. So they have these are the elephants who are trained to tame these elephants who are anger, these Gumki elephants. But I heard that the training the Gumki elephants undergo is very painful, right from how they are trained. It's very painful training they undergo. So only then these elephants will be, trained. So these elephants who are so much anger, so they will be able to control them. And here we see the numbers. So 10 Ankini is equal to 1 Akshauhini. So 1 Akshauhini is 21,870 chariots, which equals of 21,870 elephants. And the foot soldiers are around 1,09,350, and horses are 65,610. So this is the count of 1 Akshauhini. So this is into 17. Each you multiply by 17, you get the numbers. So this is mind-blowing. It's beyond our imagination. So I was told somebody has approached Steven Spielberg. So you may know that Steven Spielberg is a director of Jurassic Park, and he's known for making fiction movies, all such movies. So they approached him and told them, why don't you take a movie of Mahabharata? So then they have given him the description of how the Mahabharata will be, the warlike situation. So he said it's very difficult and it's unimaginable to bring all these things in. Even I was interested to see what is the total number of elephants exist in the planet at present. So not even 5 lakhs at present. So here we can see that there must be existing of crores of elephants. So now there is not even 5 lakhs elephant. Even in Africa there are around 4 lakh, and in Asia there are around only 45,000 elephants. At least horses, they are more in number. Maybe 58 million horses are there still. But elephants, because in Africa people, this is the main sources of the elephant trunk. Elephants, it's, this ivory, what they take, it's like, it values. So the poaching, because of that, many elephants are killed, that we know. So it's very, for him it was to even, to picturize all these things, to bring all this, to make, it's not a very easy task. It's very challengeable task to make this happen. So he said, no, it's not possible. Now, although they may make by virtual graphics, and they make all this, but it looks like cartoon. It may not give the real picture of how it is. So it's very captivating. Even in Mahabharata, Pandavas, they had seven Akshauhinis, and Kauravas, they had 11 Akshauhinis. And here we see that Lord Parashurama, being the Kshatriya, he alone, he has faced all this, the entire battalion of all these things. So in Tamil grammar, I just remembered in Tamil, I don't know in which class, we learned something called Bharani. There is a specific grammar called Bharani. So this Bharani is a set of poetry glorifying a king. Especially, there are many kings actually. So especially to those king who killed thousands of elephants. In Tamil it says, ஆனை ஆயிரம் அமரிடை ஆனை ஆயிரம் அமரிடை வென்ற மன்னனுக்கு புகழ் சாட்டப்படுவது. Like the king who has especially killed thousands of elephants. So he is glorified with these prayers. So totally we can see there are such glorifications are 11 such glorifications. So one famous what we see in the textbook which is available. There are many Paranis, only by the name we are known, but many are not, only we don't have the manuscripts. So one Parani, I think many Kalingattu Parani. So Jayam Gondar. So he is the one who has written this. And this very wonderful description. I just want to see like what is this all about, So it has some 14 parts. 14. It has a 14 parts. It's taught how the glorification goes. It's first start with the Kadavul Valthu. First means glorifying. First, like even Tirukural. If you see the first stanza, he is glorifying the Lord. So similarly, any poetry. So this was the tradition. The person who is composing the poem, first he is offering his glorification prayers to the Lord. Then it has various parts. The 14 parts, it describes the battlefield. And it describes how, before going to the battlefield, how the king goes to the place of worship the, especially Kali, how the Kali is worshipped, and very in an allegorical way, how the military flanks, how it is arranged. And it also describes how the soldiers are killed. And also it describes the last part, it describes about, so when everybody is killed, it's like, it's the entire assassination, it's complete assassination. People are slaughtered, especially in the battlefield. Then all the ghosts, pisachas, all these people, they come and drink the blood of all these soldiers. So I heard Gokul Prabhu in Ramayana, during his Ramayana seminar, he told, if there are certain numbers of soldiers when they kill, then without, they will be like without the head. They will all arose actually. When certain number of the soldiers are killed, they will, they arose. So horrified, so horrifying a scene it is. So this Kalingattu Parani, it's especially describes the glory of that particular king who kills thousands of elephants. So it's unimaginable to see the power of certain kings. It's for our mind. And Prabhupada said the last king, last Kshatriya who existed in India, maybe Chhatrapati Shivaji. So Chhatrapati Shivaji, we know the glimpse of Chhatrapati Shivaji. He was such a Kshatriya that although he is not, it is described that Chhatrapati Shivaji is not too height. It's very short. He is a short. And his mother is Jijabai. And we see how Chhatrapati Shivaji inculcated this Kshatriya quality. So right from the young age, Jijabai used to narrate the story of Ramayana, Mahabharata. So Shivaji Maharaj was so much captivated by this narrations. And we can see Chhatrapati Shivaji is known to be expert in fighting in the mountains, especially in the mountains. He used to fight in mountain. And we know how courageously he dealt with Aurangzeb. Twice, Aurangzeb was killed. Almost he was about to be killed by Chhatrapati Shivaji. So, and we know the kings like Maharana Pratap. So when we went to Pushkar, we see that in one park, we have this, they made this sculpture of this Maharana Pratap. So he had that sword, such a powerful sword. Cheta, his horse is Chetak, I think. That's one of the very powerful horses to be known in the history, Cheta, horse, Chetak. And he has killed that Muslim king. So he has, how he ripped the body apart with his sword. He was in the horse and the Muslim king was in elephant. You can imagine how the horse must have been jumped. So that he smashed the Muslim king into twice. No, his body is cut off to two pieces. Not only him, even the elephant. Even the elephant was cut into pieces. So we can imagine the power, how much powerful the sword will be, and how much power the king would have had. It's unimaginable what kind of power they had possessed. It's unimaginable what kind of power they had. So this is the power of Kshatriya. Like in Bhagavad Gita, the description is given about the Kshatriya. Shauryam tejo dhritir daksham yuddhecha cha phalayanam dhanam yishwar bhavascha shatram karma subhahajam. So this is the power of Kshatriya. So he is heroic, he is powerful, he is determined, he is resourceful, courage in battle, generosity and leadership. So these are the natural qualities of Kshatriya. His courage. So here we can see, although there is a huge numbers of elephants, infantries and soldiers, so it doesn't shake the determination of Lord Parashurama. So this determination is very, very important. If one is not determined, how he is going to face the battle? That's why the Kshatriya should have this quality of determination, and he should have this courage. He should have the courage to protect his citizen. He should have this courage. That's why Kshatriya, one who protects the citizen from being hurt. So that is and he is heroic. So only by possessing this quality one can be called as Kshatriya. And it is said, the person who commands one Akshauhini is called Mahasenapati. So the Senapati is there in the battlefield. They are in the battlefield. They observe the battle. They know what is the strength. They know what is the weakness of the opponent. And they should be very dynamic. Although they may have many numbers. Actually, we can see in Mahabharata. Although Kauravas, they had 11 Akshauhini. Pandavas, they had only 7. But they could. We know ultimately it's because of the presence of Krishna, it was all possible. But it's not just numbers. The intelligence of Mahasenapati, the intelligence of the commander, how to engage the soldiers, and how to, they should be so proactive. They should observe the war and deploy the army accordingly. So that how they can win the battlefield. Not like at present the war which is going in Ukraine. Which is a very significantly very small country. And if you see the military strength of Russia is huge. And we can see that still the battle is going on. It's almost 3 months. And there is no any etiquette of war being followed. If you see that traditionally, there was etiquette being followed. The war is not held in where the people, it's not held in the residential areas. So it will be it's entirely away from the people. It's a residential area. And there is many etiquettes are being followed in the war. So in morning, only during the daytime the war will be there. In the evening, they all go back to their respective tents. So there will not be war in the evening. We can see how all the so-called Muslim kings who has, who defeated all the, means in the history of India, if you see how they are won the battle, it's all by the illegal means. They didn't follow the righteous path of war. If you see the entire history, it's very unfortunate. We see in the history books, we don't see the description of Maharana Pratap, Chhatrapati Shivaji, or Krishna Devaraya, all Gajapati kings. So we don't hear all this description. I remember, like one chapter is dedicated for Shah Jahan, one chapter is dedicated for Babur, one chapter is for Akbar, one chapter for Humayun, one chapter for Shesha. So this is like entire, it's so much distorted. The history is so distorted. The people will not be able to hear all this description. Only when they hear, when they read Mahabharata, the two from the bona fide source, when they read Srimad Bhagavatam, they will be able to know who is Kshatriya and what is their history was. So everything was distorted. It's not mentioned in this history book. So it's very unfortunate to people come through this demoniac education and they learn all this bogus history. If about Krishna Devaraya, one small paragraph, 4 lines. But Krishna Devaraya, if you see the kingdom, what he ruled, the Muslim kings could not enter his kingdom. How many temples he erected, all the beautiful temples, what we see in South India and in many parts of Karnataka, these are all erected by Krishna Devaraya. And many such kings who are pious. And we don't, unfortunately, we don't hear all their descriptions. We hear all these bogus people. It's very, very unfortunate. So they don't follow any rules and regulations. Now you see, now they bomb the hospitals, they bomb the schools, they bomb all innocent people, residential area. People, it's say that if in a battlefield, if a opponent doesn't have a weapon, he will not be attacked. Such etiquette is followed. What the innocent people, they throw bombs, horrible bombs. And we know when this Osama bin Laden, when he was killed in Abtho, in Pakistan, there is a place called Abtobad, some place. So all these military commanders, they were in White House, along with Barack Obama. It's all live telecasted, because all these soldiers, they had some, they had the cam, they had some specialized cam on top of their helmet. And it was live telecasted. Everybody, all the Senapatis, Mahasenapati, Senapati, all king, they are like watching what is happening there. What is, how he's being killed, assassinated. So this is not the scenario. The Senapati there, although Bhishma, he's so old, Dronacharya is so old, they are there in the battlefield. They were in front line, they were there, and they were commanding, they were fighting literally. Literally we can see how Bhishma was slaughtering the army of Pandavas. We know. So much so that Krishna has to break the promise. So when Krishna ran with the chariot wheel, so Bhishma was so courageous, he was thinking, this is the perfection of my life. He didn't go, he didn't run behind. He was thinking, this is perfection of my life, to be being killed by the Lord. And he was waiting for that moment. So this was the courage of the soldiers. So what kind of soldiers we have at present? There is a term called honey trap. If you know what is honey trap, this is one type of seducing. There are some high-level commander. So they may have some social account, maybe some Facebook, Twitter or something. So what they do, what the other, even recently they were in India, it is happening this practice is happening in almost in all country we can see. So some beautiful girl will be kind of seducing, especially the person who is having a very high military rank. So some or other they get some social networking account. It will be given to this girl, and she will be like very nicely speaking to him very nicely. He will be developing a relation to that point that he will be revealing all the military secret to that girl. So this is called honey trap. Many cases have happened, even in many armies actually. So this is the kind of determination what they have. But still, there are some remnants. I was discussing with Raman Mishra Prabhu about Indian Army. Indian Army, at present it has around 11 lakh soldiers, including 32,000 military officers. He says there are some courageous soldiers are there. There are many regiments. If you see many regiments who are in the military, there is something called Jat, there is a Gurkha regiment. So these are these are the soldiers, He says they don't care for their life. There is a battlefield, when the commander gives the command, they don't have a second thought. Immediately they will go and fight. They give their life like that. Even this Gurkha regiment and this Jat regiment are considered to be the very powerful regiments in Indian Army. So we find this Ksatriya spirit is there, but very, very shaggy, very, very shallow, this Ksatriya spirit. Why? Because at present we can see that how the modern education is training everybody to be a first-class Shudra. So this is what it is, Everybody, how they can become a first-class Shudra. Once, if one is educated in the education system, his independent, thoughtful mentality is killed, literally. You don't have the independent, thoughtful mentality. And Maharaj very wonderfully described in one of the recent lecture, many people are various. Where? In the YouTube comment section. If anything happen, any social issue, they just, in the comment session, they will be giving back and forth. We can hear very, fierce arguments, only in the comment section. And now all this, it's very well known how the kids, especially kids, are exposed to these games like PUBG. Although India, they banned the PUBG. Now the PUBG has various versions, Korean version, Indian version. And they have many versions of PUBG. India just banned the Chinese version of PUBG. So when they play these horrible games, they all in some virtual reality. Even recently we heard in US, in Texas, in one school, 15 children there was a gunshot. 15 children were killed, including 4 teachers. So this is how, guided missile and misguided men. That's what it is. That is a saying. We are having a guided missiles but misguided men. When all these people they have, because America to get the gun license is very simple, because they have some protection at anybody, any Tom, Dick and Harry can have the gun. So because they are not well trained in the science, they are because they all have the crazy mind, they play all these crazy games, and they want to practice what they have playing in the video game. They want to practice. They go to the school, colleges, it was happening in kindergarten. So they just go and kill their, co-students like this. So this is all because, this so-called, this modern education system, how the people are trained to be a first-class Shudra. And that's why we are not able to see any, that's why at present we don't have a very good Kshatriya ruling. The entire, the government, it's all filled up with Shudras. That's why we can see there is at present there is people are being tampered with unemployment, tampered with the natural resources are being destroyed, and we can see the entire everything is from the education system, political system, and everything is being devastated because there is no proper Kshatriya is there. Because of there is no proper Kshatriya is ruling. And so here we can see the description, how a Kshatriya is, how courageously he is facing the battle. And Prabhupada, there was, throughout Prabhupada books, we can see this entire description of how the harmonious society should be. So for that, we need to have a very good qualified Kshatriya. Otherwise, the entire society will be havoc. Because Kshatriya means he's been guided by Maharishis. He's been guided by Brahmanas. So the Brahmana guide the Kshatriya. That's how the society is designed. The Vedic society was so designed in a very scientific way. Kshatriyas, they take guidance from the Brahmanas. So that's why we see the Vedic society, there was so much harmony and peace. And although, Prabhupada in one lecture, he said, why the war is, first of all, what is the necessity for a war? The necessity for a war is the king, there is a battle between kings, who can give more protection to their subjects. That's how in that ground, in that principle, the war was held. Who can give more protection? Who can guide the subjects in a dharmic way? That's how the war was born. Not for any petty issue. Not for all this World War I, II, III. If you see the entire thing, it's all, the purpose behind it's not dharmic, all adharmic. All these concentration camps by Hitler. So that's not the way the war is. The war was particularly for the purpose of who can give more protection, who can give, who can lead the subjects in more dharmic way. So that is how the war was held. So, but at present we can see how for any petty issue, for any petty things, there is a war. So this is all because people they don't follow their dharma. So further we will be hearing how the battle, how in the next couple of verses, how Lord Parashurama fight the battle in the speed of, like the speed of wind. People, they could not even imagine what is approaching us. It's not that it's the war, how, if you see the description, Parashurama, it's not that like a fraction of second it's all happened. It's like, it's full of blood. Actually, it's not like a magic that, it's just by, by his vision, everybody was killed. It was practically, the sword has to reach each and every soldier, each and every elephant, each and every horses. So everybody is killed from all directions. So it's very captivating description when we go further, how the war was fought. So this description will be followed. So I don't want to describe all this battlefield war here, the description here. Hare Krishna. Is there any questions or comments? This. Yes, bro. Yeah, this actually I heard from one of Srila Prabhupada lecture, where he mentioned that, means what I described is, it's from one of the lecture, Srila Prabhupada lecture. Like, the idea is, means if we especially take the case of Mahabharata, and it is said that Pandavas are righteous, they had the right over their kingdom, because being denied for that, we know the Duryodhana, he don't want to even give the small. So he showed this adharmic act. He was being adharmic, so that, this war has to be fought. And in the principle, actually, when in the principle, to be understood that, like, anybody who, the dharmic kings who take over the kingdom, even when we say that when Pandavas, when they rule the entire kingdom. So although it was under it is all Lord's plan. Actually, if you see what's Mahabharata, it's all Lord's plan to bring all the demoniac people together, and they have to be killed. If we see the plan behind, Lord's plan behind bringing all the soldiers. But we see that many kingdom, being captured by the demons. So it has to be relieved, and from the demoniac ruler, and a Vaishnava, means the devotee of the Lord, who knows the principles of Dharma, he will guide the subjects accordingly. So maybe what Prabhupada, apparently it looks like, there was a proper idea behind the war was fought. It's not for anything. Like the Pandavas were also, they didn't have the idea of enjoying the kingdom, enjoying the idea behind the war was fought was like Dharma. Means it's like, it is to, the principle behind the war was fought was the dharmic reason was there, at least in the general aspect to be seen. That's how I understand how it is to be. Even we can see this Gajapati kings, if you see the history of Gajapati king, this Krishnadeva Raya's daughter was married to Krishna. Sorry, Krishnadeva Raya, one of the Krishnadeva Raya's daughter was married to, who was that? King Prataprudra. King Prataprudra. I heard one description in the history, because he won. There was a battle fought between the Kalinga and this Krishnadeva Raya, where he won the battlefield. So king happily gave his daughter to him, and he ruled over the kingdom. Okay, the question is, it is said that in Mahabharata, means even Bhagavad Gita, we read, we hear the description that all the soldiers, even the opponents who were killed, they are all attained liberation. So the question is, all these such soldiers, who are all, even the opponents, they are, after attaining liberation, whether they will come back, and what type of liberation is this? So that is the question. So this liberation is considered to be Savijya Mukti, I think. Means the liberation of merging in Brahman. It's not the highest form of liberation. The Swarupya Siddhi, it's described that they just attain Savijya Mukti, means kind of liberation. The impersonal is attained. And we know the impersonal liberation it's a temporary. Anytime they can fall down. Because only this such, because there is no aspect of Chitta and Ananda in that impersonal aspect. So there is always a chance to be fallen down. So there may be, because the liberation, it's not a perfect form of liberation, although they are liberated, but being in that impersonal realization, so one may fall down. So that's how we see. புரியுது. Okay. Okay. So we know that how Mother Earth offered her prayers because she cannot bear the weight of all these demoniac people. So maybe so the question is it for that reason all these demoniac people were kept, they were all killed? Is it for that reason that all these demoniac people were killed and kept in liberation for some time, and again after some time they retrieved? So I don't hear any such description that for that reason, because the idea is very clear that all the demoniac people has to be curtailed from the land. So that was a clear principle, the clear ground of why the war was fought, and to relieve, of course, to relieve the Mother Earth from all such demoniac people. So I think that. So I don't know. Means is there any specific? Is there for this particular? Means idea is to kill all these people. Means to relieve all this demoniac population was the idea, and it's not mentioned that for temporarily. It's not that for temporarily they have to be there, and after some time they have to come back. There is no any such description is given. Okay. 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 Just Stavpriya Prabhu shared that those soldiers who killed in the battlefield of Mahabharata, they attained Sarupya Mukti. And there are some special cases also. There are certain demons who even attained Sarupya Mukti being killed. But generally, we know that how. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.